Good afternoon to you, dear viewers, and welcome to our broadcast. This is KBC Channel 1 Lunchtime News. And of course, we are focusing on day 3 of the retreat, cabinet retreat in Naivasha, Nakuru County, where the president had a briefing with the members of the Fourth Estate, touching on the country's public debt, the Eurobond, the recent one, and of course, in terms of what the government will be doing in approaching the arising challenges, a wholesome government approach from the legislature, judiciary, all the way to the executive. Our reporter, John Jacob Kira, is on that particular bit and will be telling us more. And also this afternoon we'll be focusing on the Hakiim, who is the coach of the late world marathon runner, that is Kelvin Kiptum. He is set to be laid to rest at Rusoso Cemetery in Kigali, Rwanda. We'll be having those live images. Welcome to our broadcast. My name is Abdiaziz. Hashim. My co-anchor this afternoon is Lucy Mwaura. And we start here in the capital, where we do understand embattled televangelist and Ekeza Sacco founder David Kariuki Ngare, alias Gakuyo, has been arrested at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, before jetting out of the country. In a self-recorded video posted on X, Gakuyo said his trip was cut short by DCI detectives who apprehended him at the airport. He, however, claims not to be aware of the motive behind his arrest. Now, Gakuyo has been on police radar over allegations of embezzling over 1 billion shillings from the members of his Ekeza Sacco. He, however, negotiated a deal to pay back the money to the claimants. Police said that he remains under probe over the issue.
Since I have to stand before the judge and be told on what case I have. Sahi niko hapa DCI airport, nimeambiwa siwezi kutoka.
Also, children who speak their mother tongue relate better to learning and excel more in education. This is according to UNESCO officials, who say that minors who know their indigenous language can relate to the issues in the environment better, learn their culture well, and acquire other school-learned languages better than those that do not know their mother tongue.
International Mother Language Day is marked on the 21st of February globally. The day is aimed at promoting linguistic and cultural diversity and to highlight the importance of preserving and promoting mother languages. The theme for this year's celebrations is multilingual education, a pillar of learning and intergenerational learning. At the Migori Teachers Training College, the celebrations brought together the Suba and Kuria communities. Here, calls were made for concerted efforts to salvage minority languages that are on the brink of extinction.
Tumepata ugumu kwa sababu watoto wameenda shule na watoto wengine wazazi wakienda katika ajira wanaacha watoto katika watu ambao ni wa kuongea Kiswahili, nao hawajaweza kuwafundisha ile lugha.
Na nimejaribu na njia zote watu yetu wasipotee hii lugha yetu ya Kisuba. Na hata ndiyo President Moi the late alitupatia 2 divisions hapa. Tuko na Suba West Division and Suba East Division.
Also, the Basuba community has come out very strongly and has found that one of their relatives are the Abakuria. And together with the Abakuria, they have forged an alliance because they speak nearly the same language.
According to UNESCO, mother tongue education supports learning, literacy, and the acquisition of additional languages.
For young people to learn better, they have to learn their mother tongue because they relate. In fact, research has shown that young people who know their mother tongue, they excel better in education. They relate issues in the environment better. They learn their culture better. They acquire languages better than young people who have not learned any mother tongue.
Haswa kuhakikisha kwamba wazazi tunawasisitizia kuzungumza na watoto wao kwa lugha ya mama, hasa wanapokuwa pale nyumbani. Ni muhimu, na kwa hakika hao wazazi ndio wanashikilia utamaduni huu. Bila wao tutapoteza ule mshikano wa kizazi kilichopita na kilichopo na kichajo.
Nancy Kware, Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere to education matters now, Dagoretti North Member of Parliament, that is Beatrice Elachi, has urged parents to prioritize education of their children to have a positive impact on the society. According to Elachi, parents and guardians should take advantage of free education programs to enroll their children in schools. Elachi cited an incident of a student who was transferred from a school in Nairobi to the rural area only for the student to drop out of school. She was speaking during the launch of a campaign to mobilize African nations to increase education funding.
In Dagoretti North, I'll tell you, we have those who have joined, we have those who we are still looking for, because remember in Nairobi, you have children today and tomorrow they are all taken to the rural. So you start wondering, where is this child? But I think in schools, that is what we are using in Nairobi. We are using our own schools to know. We did 800 standard 8. This amount has gone to school. This number has gone to school. Where are the rest?
The education services provided by the Catholic Church amount to 50% of the total service given in the country. So that 40 to 50% is large. So we are trying to mobilize that 50% to help the country accelerate, not only Kenya but also other countries, accelerate SDG 4, which is access to education.
And in other news, the national government has allocated over 200 million shillings towards the completion of the Homa Dam in Kitui County. The construction of the dam began over a decade ago, where of course it will be cost an estimation of 1.9 billion shillings. Now, speaking during the state visit, Water Harvesting and Shortage Authority Chair, that is Simon Kimaru, underscored the government's commitment in ensuring that the dam will be completed in the next 2 years or so.
This under the better transformative government agenda, in which we want to offer food security and the water for our people. Homa Dam will cost 1.9 billion. That's what will cost the government. And we thank even our development partners who are coming in to ensure that this initiative is fulfilled.
The process of transferring management of Murang'a Dam to Murang'a Water and Sanitation Company has commenced. Now, this comes after President William Ruto's directive that 800,000 cubic meter dam be managed by MUWASCO and not Murang'a's South Water and Sanitation Company. Now, officials from both MUWASCO and MUWASCO the forum held at the dam's treatment plant agreed to conclude transfer of the management within a period of 2 weeks. Now, the customers' equipment, among them other services, will be put under MUWASCO with a target to increase water coverage to the drier Murang'a sub-county.
Facility for 1 year since last year March, and we appreciate that this day has come. We want to hand it over to our colleague, the Murang'a Water and Sanitation Company, in obedience to the decree of the President.
We are in the process of transition, because from where I sit, we are looking at MUWASCO doing or delivering water services to our major towns that we have in this county.
Hii kampuni iko na area kubwa sana yenye inaserve huku Murang'a County. Juu iko na 3 constituencies, iko na Maragwa, iko na Kigumo na iko na Kadara. Hizo ni 17 wards. Ile sababu imefanya tukue tukitaka kampuni inaitwa MUWASCO ikuje iserve Maragwa constituency. Imekuwa underused, imekuwa ikitumikia ward 2, that is Bill ward na township. So our plea is waongezewe ward 6, wakuwe na ward 8, at least watu wa Maragwa wakuwe wakipata maji 24/7.
The National Legal Aid Services has embarked on a campaign to provide free legal services and resolve legal disputes in Mandera County. Now led by the Senior State Counsel Faith Koila, the organization stated that they will engage with the residents of Mandera East so as to ensure, with the emphasis on assisting to the disadvantaged and marginalized groups within the community.
Wale ambao wana maswali ama makesi ambayo zinaendelea za kisheria, ili tuwaweze kuwapatia huduma ya bure, tusikize kesi zao na tuwaweze kuungana na hao na kuwapatia huduma ambayo ofisi yetu inafanya. Tumeshirikiana na ofisi ya County Commissioner, na ndio maana sisi wote tumejumuika hapa ili tuweze kuleta access to justice kwa mwananchi na tuhakikishe kwamba mwananchi amepata haki zake.
Kuna zile mahitaji ambao hao wananchi watakuwa wanapatiwa ile aid services. Ijapokuwa wale ambao watajihusisha na maneno ya uhalifu kama maneno ya terrorism, maneno ya Al-Shabaab, hizo hatutakubali waweze kupatiwa aid services kwa wananchi, kwa maafisa wa serikali.
Elsewhere, East Africa Community member states have been challenged to collaborate more on strategic and sustainable agricultural projects to enhance food security in the region. East Africa Legislative Assembly Agricultural Committee, while on tour to the Lake Victoria Basin Commission, also said that the implementation of such projects must be alive to climatic change and environmental conservation. Achola Simon with the details.
The East Africa Legislative Assembly Committee on Agriculture members were in Kisumu County for a spot check on the activities and programs implemented by the Lake Victoria Basin Commission and ascertain their efficacy in the push for food security agenda in the region.
And then we are also thinking of ending hunger, but it's impeded by climate change issues. So we are here also to check on its mitigation by LVBC. Leadership and staff, for how you work very hard to make sure you mitigate climate change impact on farmers, because farmers are the best producers of food.
I think this is the opportunity, as being member of Agriculture Committee, to see the projects made on this area, to see how each country can benefit from what is done by the others.
The legislators said it was time for member states to work together in finding strategic and sustainable agricultural projects that will enhance access to quality food in the region.
Climate change resilience. Actually, what is very important is to ensure that the East Africans do not lack food. We really want to provide food. Before we provide food outside East Africa, we have to ensure that our citizens in East Africa are well fed.
We're talking only about political, we're talking only about natural resources. We're fighting for that. By the time that we have a lot of health, we have nothing we have to take. If you can consider the agriculture as priority or priorities in our country, people could eat very well. People could benefit much instead of fighting only because of natural resources.
They, however, want the efforts to remain alive to threats of environmental degradation and water body masses pollution. Agriculture is one of the major contributors to pollution of Lake Victoria.
Our work is to promote sustainable agriculture through best practices and the technologies. And these days we say climate smart agriculture, that you address the question of food security while also you are putting climate and other environmental challenges
in the question. I've noticed that at least the water hyacinth which used to be on the water is no longer there. The contamination, the pollution which used to be in the lake is no longer there. So I think the Commission is doing great work in terms of climate change and also food security.
The leaders also want a speedy conclusion of maritime safety projects that will see several maritime rescue centers built around Lake Victoria. Achola Simon, Lunchtime News, Kisumu County.
Hundreds of residents from Tana River County have received training on the oversight of different functions being run by the county government and good governance in forum organized by the Oversight Mashinani. Now, the event brought together residents from 4 different wards of Galole constituency. The locals called on the county government to focus more on health, road infrastructure and water provisions.
Tumepata aibu kubwa kwa sababu hospitali level 4 yetu imekuwa na total breakdown. Pesa sisi tunaleta lakini hakuna service ambazo wananchi wanapata za kutosha. Wananchi wamelia sana katika mkutano huu ya kwamba mtu akitaka kuingia pale ndani usafi ni shida, ukitaka kuzaa theater ni shida, wafanyikazi wanakuja kuchelewa.
Leo tuko na oversight mashinani, Mheshimiwa Danson Buya Mgatana, senator wetu wa nguvu, tuko naye hapa. Alhamdulillah, tunashukuru. Amekuja akatuelimisha na akatufahamisha kuhusu kazi yake au ya kuhusu hiyo mambo na oversight ambayo ndio kazi yake ambayo tumemtumia huko bunge la Senate. Kwa hivyo ni kama wananchi ilikuwa hatujaelewa zaidi kuhusu hiyo oversight.
A section of residents in Gakuyo town, Kiambu County, are disputing the construction of a hospital expansion in Gakuyo police station on a 1.8 acre of land. Now, the residents, led by their chair lady Agnes Njeri, argue that the land in question set aside for the construction of the facilities had been allocated to them by the former lawmaker to construct a nursery school. The residents are calling on the relevant authorities to intervene on the matter and settle the dispute.
Huko Gakuyo nursery school tulipewa na ni ya mama wa Kongo malijenga, na kwa wengine hawa kujenga hiyo nyumba, na sisi tukaona hakuna hiyo pesa tujenge shule ya watoto wetu. Mimi nauliza gavana wa Matangi utusaidie, kwa sababu tunaona tabu. Tuko na watoto huko wa watoto wetu. Polisi wetu hawana station, wanasidaka wakisururushwa kwa nyumba za watu, kwa mashamba ya watu, wakikaa mwaka moja mwaka mbili wanafukuzwa, wanarudi hawana nyumba hawana nini. Tunataka juu hapa kuna shamba na ni ya serikali, tusaidiwe na MP wetu Mr. Joroge Kororia, tusaidiwe na wamefira akuja wasikikiane na serikali watusaidie kutujengea police station, tujengee hospitali.
Kenya has settled part of the $2 billion Eurobond issued in 2014 ahead of the maturity date on the 24th of June this year. President William Ruto says the settlement worth $1.5 billion was done yesterday with proceeds from the bond buyback, evading a possible repayment default which was stalking on Kenya. Now, there were growing concerns that Kenya was likely to join Ethiopia and Ghana in failing to honor the international debts, throwing the country's financial system into a spin.
Yesterday marked a significant financial milestone for Kenya as we successfully settled the buyback of a substantial part of the $2 billion 2014 Euro bonds that were scheduled to mature on the 24th of June 2024 by paying $1.5 billion raised on 12th February 2024. The successful execution of both the buyback and the new bond issue demonstrates strong investor confidence in Kenya through the international capital markets and a vote of confidence in the government's overall economic management, particularly our public debt management strategy.
And we'll have more for you in our subsequent bulletins. Elsewhere, Kilifi County is set for a major infrastructural facelift after the national government embarked on the second phase of the Kenya Informal Settlement Project that seeks to upgrade road networks and other key developments in the region. During the groundbreaking ceremony in one of the informal settlements, Kilifi Deputy Governor Flora Chibule said that the facelift targets to transform livelihood of the locals. Now, the project, which are also funded by the World Bank in conjunction with the European Union, will be implemented in over 200 informal settlements that include Mtani, Kibaoni and Kalolo in Kilifi County.
The project mirrors our urban renewal agenda. As a county government, we have created 3 more municipalities in the county. And it is through these partnerships and collaborations that meaningful development of our citizens will be realized.
Tutafanya kazi pamoja na watu wa Kilifi, na zile changamoto zikuja tukisema jamani, tupatieni nafasi tufanye maendeleo, naomba tuwe tayari kukubali na tufanye yale maendeleo.
Rwanda, where I do understand Hakiim Manigraz, the coach of the late world marathon runner, that is Kelvin Kiptum, will be laid to rest in Rusororo Cemetery in Kigali, Rwanda. That is where the service is currently undergoing. We want to listen into the proceedings, given that he tragically died in a road accident along the Elgeyo-Marakwet Ravine Road on the February of 11th. Let's get to hear what is happening there.
Il va se présenter au Seigneur avec ses cœurs humbles et ses cœurs purifiés par nos prières. Là, nous allons encore une fois prier pour lui, pour que le Seigneur lui pardonne tous ses péchés et qu'il lui accorde le repos éternel. Nyagasani Yesu nabane namwe.
It is a story that we're keeping an eye on. That is Hakiim Manigraz's final rites in Kigali, Rwanda. The coach to the late world marathon runner, that is Kelvin Kiptum. Kiptum himself will be laid to rest this Friday. And of course, they lost their lives in a tragic accident, in a road accident along the Elgeyo-Marakwet Ravine Road on February 11th, 2024, that also claimed the life of Kiptum and left an injured female passenger as well. We're keeping an eye on that particular story, given that particular tragic event denied Kenya an opportunity in the upcoming Olympics. And of course, we do anticipate our athletes to be participating in that. Of course, he was born in Nyagururu district of South Province. Hakiim started his athletics career with APR Athletics Club and joined the national team before making a transition to coaching the talent scouting in 2008. We'll be giving you more updates in our subsequent bulletins. Let's come back here to the country, where at least 325 students from Sitian Secondary School in Kipkelion East Sub-County, Kericho, will benefit from a standard library built and commissioned by the Finalize Community Trust. Now, the independent charitable trust aims to empower communities and nurture sustainable growth in Kericho and Bomet County. Now, speaking during the commissioning of the library, the trust secretary, that is Sami Kirui, said the community had contributed 10% of the 6 million shillings which was used in its construction. He further said the organization will also sponsor a total of 40 students every year from Kericho and Bomet counties to study technical skills at Konoin and Belgut Technical Training Institutes.
Doing scholarships, we usually sponsor 20 students every year to join secondary school. We've sponsored over 500 students who have attended secondary schools courtesy of Finalize Community Trust. We have supported over 300 students do their undergraduate studies in Kenyan public universities, and the program will continue. We also send 2 students every year to study for master scholarships overseas. We will be taking 20 students to study in TVET institutions. We have chosen Konaun Technical Institute as well as Belgrade Technical Institute.
26 minutes past the hour. Don't go too far. We are taking a short breather, but when we come back, we'll be conversing more on what is happening in the country and beyond our borders. Don't go too far.
How do you say welcome in your language?
No. So today we're making egusi soup with goat meat.
As we allow our egusi to boil, you said it's going to take about 5 minutes, and it's looking so good. I love the color from the palm oil.
We're practically done with mixing it.
Right. Eunice, thank you so much for coming all the way and teaching us how to make egusi soup, the traditional Igbo way. I love it.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out. Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani. Sio wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow.
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now I want to take you live to the Great Rift Valley Lodge, where I do understand Chief Justice Martha Koome is currently addressing members of the Fourth Estate in regards to the conclusion of a 3-day retreat that brought together all heads of the courts. Let's listen in.
The decision autonomy of judges and recognizing the need for the judiciary to engage in constructive dialogue with other branches and agencies of the government to address and resolve challenges that arise in the course of the administration of justice. We also acknowledged that there are time-sensitive matters that should be accorded priority in their determination by our courts, by their very nature that they touch the larger members of the public. Conscious of the current challenges hindering the hearing and the timely disposal and determination of those time-sensitive matters, recognizing also the need to address these challenges through a multi-pronged approach, including through regular consultative meetings and peer review mechanisms. We are also desirous to establish and maintain an efficient case and judgment management system for those public interest matters, also to enhance proactive actions to entrench integrity and accountability in the administration of justice and the incorporation of technology to streamlining service delivery. Drawing from the themes of introspection on procedural rules in public interest matters, the concept of matters of general public interest, active case management and judgment management, also the issue of fight against corruption, upholding the independence of the judiciary, while harnessing intergovernmental collaboration and leveraging on technology for excellence in delivery of service, we now make the following resolutions. 1. Streamlining the court process. The superior courts will endeavor to accord priority to time-sensitive cases to ensure their conclusion in a timeous manner, whilst respecting the principle that justice must be done to all, irrespective of status. 2. Recognizing the need to review and update the Constitution of Kenya, Protection of Rights and Fundamental Freedoms Practice Procedure Rules, which were enacted in 2013, to take into account contemporary developments that have taken place over the last 10 years, and to introduce timelines to various processes. I, the Chief Justice, will take action to initiate a process to review these laws and these rules. I, as the Chief Justice, will also endeavor to optimize the capacity of the Constitutional and Human Rights Division and Judicial Review Division of the High Court once the new judges have been recruited. We have recognized the shortage of the human resource capital in those two divisions. 4, to promote the general wellness of judges and to ensure that judicial decisions are not personalized.
All that is Chief Justice Martha Koome just giving an update following that conclusive meeting with all the heads of the courts across the country in terms of addressing time-sensitive matters that touch on the public. She talked about streamlining the courts process so as to conclude cases on time and, of course, address the issue of backlog cases, reviewing and updating certain provisions and sections of the Constitution of Kenya, and will duly inform you in our subsequent bulletins. Elsewhere, Murang'a County Governor, that is Irungu Kang'ata, has made some changes in the health docket following a series of complaints from residents on poor health services in public hospitals. Now, Governor Kang'ata has appointed Senior Officer Eliud Wanja to Kang'ata, reiterated that the changes are intended to improve health services in the county.
The Department of Lands had been split into two: Survey and Lands Administration that be headed by the current Chief Officer, Josephine Wanjiru Wanjiko, Planning that will be headed by Brian Deleva Paul as the acting Chief Officer. Then Eliud Maina Wanja is the new Chief Officer of Public Health and Administration, and Dr. James Keitao Kanyi moves to Infrastructure and Community Project as acting Chief Officer.
And now let's get down to business. United Arab Emirates-based DP World is exploring investment opportunities in the country, targeting the logistics sector. Now, the company, which operates the port of Dubai, has been extending its footprint in Africa with major deals in Tanzania and Djibouti. DP World Head of Corporate Affairs and Sustainability in the Sub-Saharan Africa, Esha Masing, says that the company is exploring partnerships in the cargo haulage business, but it's yet to find a suitable partner.
DP World, which is one of the world's largest operator of ports handling more than 70 million containers, has been on an aggressive expansion drive in Africa, targeting various ports on the continent. The Emirate company has presence in more than 10 African countries, with plans to double this number. The company has been eyeing a piece of the Kenyan logistics market, targeting to invest in the ports of Lamu, Mombasa, Kisumu, and the Naivasha Inland Depot. However, its efforts are being thwarted by long political and bureaucratic processes. DP World has so far made a soft entry into the Kenyan market by becoming the main sponsor of the magical Kenya Open tournament, set to be hosted at the Muthaiga Golf Club over the weekend.
I'm excited that out of these conversations are going to be conversations on where you can invest in, seeing how this is a whole value chain that touches all the way to the farmer, who's also being able to dedicate and bring food for our activities, to the different people who have been there, the Cadiz economy.
DP World Head of Corporate Affairs and Sustainability in the Sub-Saharan Africa, Asia Mansin, says the company is exploring various strategic partnerships that will give it a foothold in the country.
Government to look at how we do more in this market particularly, and to grow our presence and our support. And outside of the world of business, as I've mentioned, there's the community partnerships that we're looking at. I mean, this week symbolizes that through the DP World Tour, for example. So there's certainly be other opportunities that we will be engaging with the Kenyan government.
The magical Kenya Open is set to be held over the weekend at the Muthaiga Golf Club, is poised to act as a catalyst for global investments as Kenya continues forging partnerships to stimulate economic growth. Reporting for Lunchtime News from Nairobi, my name is Frederick
Moki, thank you for that particular story. Homa Bay County Government is targeting investors in agricultural value chain and tourism during its International Investment Conference slated for next week. Now, Homa Bay Governor, that is Gladys Wanga, says the devolved unit has several bankable investment opportunities that will be pitched to investors during the 3-day forum to be held in Homa Bay town.
Homa Bay is a largely agricultural county, but we also have 80% of Kenya's Lake Victoria. So we're looking at giving out opportunities in aquaculture, in the blue economy area, on the lake, on tourism, and on agricultural value chains such as cotton, edible oils, which include sunflower, nuts, and also in fish. So overall what we look at doing and achieving by this investment conference is exposing the opportunities that Homa Bay has for investment, so that we're able to get the economic takeoff that we are looking at as Homa Bay, but also create jobs for the young people in Homa Bay and just bring up the economy.
Construction of a wildlife tourism college at the Masai Mara National Reserve has been completed, targeting to skill the youth to tap opportunities within the hospitality industry. Here's Felix Q with the details.
It is a new dawn for tourism training. The former Koyaki Guiding School has been remodeled to a fully fledged wildlife training college. The general manager in charge of operations at the college says the institution will fuse wildlife conservation and tourism, as well as instill skills on combating climate change conservancy.
Basically, the idea of the college is to inculcate the idea of conservation in the students' mind as young as they are, so that at least we're able to mitigate the climate change issues. The other bit that is really important for us is about sustainability of the Padamat Conservancy where we are located.
The college will also undertake tailored courses for the local women on conservation sustainability projects. The trained youth are expected to be employed at hospitality facilities in larger Masai Mara ecosystem and beyond.
We have a lot of conservancies that are coming up within the Mara, and we have a lot of hotels located inside and outside of the Mara Game Reserve, and all these needs trained personnel. However, the local community could not be able to gain employment from these companies and various institutions in the Mara because of lack of the skills and knowledge, and therefore that is what Wildlife Tourism College seeks to bridge that gap.
Wildlife animals are serving a bigger percentage
of beneficiary to the local people. Let me say they have really prepared me fully, because when I joined, I was completely out of knowing what is more important in wildlife.
Those contracted for large projects will be required to procure the services of geologists if an amendment to the Geologist Registration Act 1993 is adopted in its current form. Now, the Geologist Association of Kenya Chair Daniel Olango says the amendments are aimed at addressing cases of buildings collapsing.
I would urge all of us to educate and make aware to other people what exactly geology is. If you're going to drill a borehole, you ask the chief, can I talk in a baraza and just say what we are doing, who we are and what we are doing? I think that would help quite a bit. A lot more community engagement as we try to get the legislation done to allow us to be more visible and to talk more openly on issues.
Elsewhere, Europe's biggest bank, HSBC, has posted an 80% jump in pre-tax profit to 30.3 billion shillings in 2023, fueled by high interest rates. Now, this comes after central banks around the world raised interest rates in the last 18 months to help curb the rising prices. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the globe.
HSBC's rival London twist last week not as high as expected. HSBC's pre-tax profit for 2022 was $17.1 billion, and analysts were expecting $1 billion last year. Investors have been closely watching HSBC's exposure to China's property sector, which has been engulfed in crisis since 2020. A court in Hong Kong last month ordered the liquidation of debt-laden property giant Evergrande. Meanwhile, beef production by three of the world's biggest meat packers has been linked to illegal deforestation in Brazil's Cerrado. The savanna, which featured in Planet Earth 3, hosts 5% of Earth species and is a buffer against global warming. The Cerrado sits next to the Amazon, but unlike its neighboring habitats, has not been afforded the same protections. In the last year, the rate of deforestation in the Amazon has halved waste in the Cerrado. It surged by 43%. This Cerrado deforestation is illegal and is being driven by cattle trade. Finally, the U.S. stock ended low on Tuesday, dragged down by the broad decline in technology stocks, as investors believe that the market outlook did not match the high valuations of their holdings. 10 of the 11 primary S&P's 500 sectors ended in declines, with technology and consumer discretionary leading the laggards by losing 1.27% and 1.0% respectively. And consumer staples backed the trend by rising 1.13%. In terms of individual stocks, Tesla fell more than 3%. Nvidia, which is about to announce its financial report on Wednesday, closed down more than 4% and once fell nearly 7% during the trading sessions. Edna Murungi for Lunchtime News.
Religious and civil society organizations under the umbrella of Mulika Initiative have challenged the two levels of government to deliver on their promises to the electorate. Now, representatives from the Catholic Conference of Bishop National Council of Churches of Kenya and SUPKEM also urged the two levels of government to explore ways of empowering marginalized communities such as the Nubians, who they said lack land to settle and farm. They also called on the government to ensure timely disbursement of the Inua Jamii cash transfers to the beneficiaries.
Kuhusiana na yale ambayo tulikuwa nayo kabla ya uchaguzi, tulikuwa tumeongelelea juu ya uchumi, tulikuwa tumeongelelea juu ya amani, tulikuwa tumeongelea juu ya ukulima. Sasa tumepitia hayo maneno na tuna mipango ya kuyapeleka mbele kwa viongozi ili wapate kuyaangalilia na kuyatimiza.
Kuongelelea mambo ya minority, kuna baadhi ya vitu ambavyo familia za minority especially Wanubi
wanafaa kuangaziwa sana. Wana mambo mengi ambayo yanaweza kuwasaidia, kwa sababu ukulima hawana uwanja ambao wanaweza lima waweze kupata riziki kutoka hapo.
Over-reliance on kangaroo courts is being blamed for the rising cases in child rights violation, including female genital mutilation in Kajiado County. Chief Magistrate Ngong Law Courts Rosalyn Onganyo says no FGM cases have been reported and successfully prosecuted at the Kajiado Law Courts since 2011. This she attributed to the locals opting out of court settlements through kangaroo courts that often issue lean penalties to the perpetrators, ultimately denying the victims justice.
According to the Kenya Demographic Health Survey of 2022, the prevalence of female genital mutilation in Kajiado County is at 63%, with emerging trends such as medicalization and cross-border practice of the vice contributing to the high numbers.
Kuna visa vingi ambavyo vinatendeka kwenye jamii kuhusu FGM ama ukeketaji wa wasichana, na lakini hazifiki kotini, kwa sababu unapata kuwa watu kwenye jamii, watu wengi wanaogopa kuripoti, na unapata kuwa wale wamefanya vitendo kama hivyo wanaenda bila kufuatiliwa na sheria, na unapata kuwa watoto wengi wanaathirika.
During an open forum that brought together members of the judiciary and different children rights groups at Enkorinka village in Kajiado Central Sub-County, judiciary officers urged locals to report such cases to the police instead of opting for kangaroo courts.
We as the courts are only called to commit those children who are victims of FGM and SGBV, whereas the culprits themselves never end in our hands before the courts. So the reasons are many, and mostly because of cultural prohibitions. They want to deal with things just behind the curtains, and also lack of witnesses contribute to this.
The elders' courts have been faulted for issuing lean penalties, such as allowing payment to the victims' families in form of livestock. Statistics indicate that not a single FGM case has been reported and successfully prosecuted at the Kajiado Law Courts for over a decade.
So tunaomba tu wanakijiji hata kama wanapo report hizi cases wanahakikisha kwamba pia na ushahidi wa kutosha, ndiposa huyu mtoto akaweza kutendewa haki. Maana unaweza kuwa umeripoti ndio, lakini ushahidi hautoshi.
On their part, locals urge the judiciary to consider prosecuting cases in the local dialect for better understanding of the procedures. So far, it is estimated that there are at least 10 rescue centers with an estimated capacity of at least 300 girls across Kajiado County. Regina Manyara reporting for Lunchtime News.
And now finally, let's play Luke de Jong's coolly converted penalty and PSV a 1-1 draw against Borussia Dortmund in the first leg of the Champions League last 16 tie at Philips Stadium. Meanwhile, substitute Marko Arnautovic scored to hand Inter Milan the advantage against Atletico Madrid at the San Siro Stadium. Tonight, Arsenal play Porto while Napoli face Barcelona.
Champions League. But this is where the real business starts.
Now, Erling Haaland scored a vital winner 19 minutes from time as Manchester City eventually broke Brentford's stubborn resistance at the Etihad Stadium to close within a point of the Premier League summit. The loss left Brentford 14th on the log with 25 points.
Bernardo Silva clipped in by Stones. Haaland couldn't reach it. Bob, Oscar Bob off the line.
Now, some good news for rugby players around the world is that smart gum shields that measure the forces involved in collision sports are being used in the Rugby Six Nations for the first time. Now, the gum shields being rolled out in Professional Rugby Union contain a chip that records gravitational forces. Upon impact, pitchside doctors are given real-time data for head